In an exclusive interview, rapper Fuse ODG accuses the Met of racial profiling after an incident that landed him in A&E. Tonight, award-winning musician Fuse ODG accuses the Metropolitan Police of racial profiling.
What? Not resisting. You are. I'm not resisting. I'm not resisting.
The rapper speaks exclusively to us about this video. He was pulled out of his car, handcuffed, and ended up in A&E.
To us, it's two educated entrepreneurs recapping, but to them, they obviously saw two black criminals that potentially had drugs on them.
Also ahead, should dog-on-dog attacks be a criminal offence for the owner? The Thames' new £25 million party boats arrived, complete with 1,000 complaints, and Vogue cover star Fats Timbo will be here to talk about making history and fashion's revolution. Good evening. The musician Fuse ODG has told us he believes he was racially profiled when he was handcuffed in Brixton earlier this year. 4 officers pulled him from his car and put him in handcuffs after they said they could smell marijuana. He recently shared a video of it on social media and has now put in a formal complaint to the Metropolitan Police. In his first interview since posting that video, Fuse says if the police had viewed him as an entrepreneur, he believes he would have been treated differently. He's been speaking to our senior correspondent, Ronke Phillips.
Do you have a warrant? Do you have a warrant?
It started with a police officer banging on their car window and developed into this.
You need to show me a warrant for this.
The encounter happened earlier this year when musician Fuse ODG was sitting in his car in Brixton with his manager. The police officers claimed they'd smelt drugs. The men, who had just had a meeting with an eminent historian about an app they were developing, believed they were racially profiled.
To us, it's two educated entrepreneurs recapping, but to them, they obviously saw two black criminals that potentially had drugs on them. And it's a very dangerous worldview of us as a people.
The pair say they rolled down the car windows because they were happy to speak to the officers, respect they had a job to do and had nothing to hide. But they say they weren't given the chance to engage.
But then he just pulled the door straight away, started dragging Fuse out of the car. So the part where the clip where you've seen is only started when I felt like this is not going right.
The musician, who suffered injuries to his neck, shoulder and wrists when he was dragged out of the car and handcuffed, says he was frightened when he was put into the back of a police van. He asked for the doors to be left open and urged a member of the public to start filming.
Don't say nothing, right? I will just listen.
You just don't know what could potentially happen behind closed doors, especially with someone who refused to communicate with me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I told the woman to keep filming. And I think from that point, I kind of felt like there was a bit of communication now, because I'm like, why have you handcuffed me?
Because I could smell cannabis.
The police told the pair they'd approached their car because a plainclothed officer smelt cannabis, even though the window was closed. They were also told what could have been drugs was seen in the car door.
This here, it says that the reason you stopped us is because you walked past and you've seen traces of a substance believed to be cannabis.
There's more to it. There's more to it.
So when
that's a mistake by you.
The way they treated us is because of their worldview of how they saw us. But if they saw us as like kings or like entrepreneurs, they would have moved differently.
This one's for the streets, that's my family. When friends turn to fam, that's my cousin. You best cause they're first, them they cuff me.
Fuse ODG, who's recorded with artists including Ed Sheeran, has now turned the experience into a song. The pair have made a formal complaint, which the Met confirm it has received and referred to the police watchdog. The musician says whatever the outcome, he will not let the incident define him. Ronke Phillips, ITV News.
A former Met police officer who failed to properly investigate Wayne Couzens over 2 incidents of flashing has been found guilty of gross misconduct. A disciplinary hearing today decided that Samantha Lee had been dishonest about her actions and ruled that she can never serve in the police again, as Antoine Allen reports.
Before former police officer Wayne Couzens kidnapped, raped and murdered Sarah Everard, he's admitted to flashing unsuspecting women on multiple occasions. On the 3rd of March 2021, Couzens' crimes escalated to the murder he now serves a life sentence for. On the same day, he kidnapped Sarah Everard. Now former police officer Samantha Lee was sent to investigate a report that on the 14th and 27th of February, Couzens had flashed a female staff member at a McDonald's drive-thru in Kent. At today's police misconduct hearing, Samantha Lee arrived to hear that she'd been found to have failed to make the correct investigative inquiries over the 2 drive-thru incidents that Couzens admitted to in January this year. The point of contention the hearing had to decide was whether Miss Lee was shown this CCTV footage of Wayne Couzens at the takeaway restaurant. Lee claimed she was only shown how the CCTV worked and told the drive-thru CCTV footage automatically deletes itself, a story that was contradicted by the restaurant manager, Sam Taylor, whom told the hearing he showed Lee the CCTV footage of Couzens' car as well as receipts that identified his bank account details and witness statements. The misconduct panel decided Mr. Taylor was a credible witness. They said, "We find it inconceivable that he would not have shown her the CCTV evidence." The question is, if the footage that shows Couzens' licence plate had been properly investigated, would Sarah Everard still be alive? Samantha Lee told the panel her investigation would not have saved Sarah's life. Wayne Couzens admitted to exposing himself to women on 3 separate occasions, all whilst he was a serving police officer. A recent study has found that 1/4 of those who commit indecent exposure offences go on to carry out further or more serious crimes. The College of Police have announced a review into how these crimes are investigated. Samantha Lee is no longer a police constable, but the hearing said if she had remained in the Met, she would have been fired after their decision. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Commuters could be faced with strikes and on the tube until Christmas. London Underground workers with the RMT union have voted to continue to take strike action in that long-running dispute over jobs, pensions and conditions. General Secretary Mick Lynch says they want a negotiated settlement and are prepared to strike for the next 6 months to make that a reality. A man's been detained after he was filmed pushing Just Stop Oil activists as they marched on Blackfriars Bridge this morning. The protesters walked across 3 London bridges to demand no new oil, gas or coal projects in the UK. It's the second time this week that their action has been disrupted by members of the public. And e-scooters are going to be banned on the majority of the capital's train network. South Eastern has confirmed they will no longer allow the scooters on their trains from the 1st of June, alongside Thameslink, Southern, South Western Railway and the Gatwick Express. It's after the London Fire Brigade released another video of an e-scooter catching fire. Now, our first guests tonight are on a mission to criminalise dog-on-dog attacks. Anna Firth is the MP for Southend West and has launched a new bill to tackle it. At the moment, dog owners are not liable for any form of prosecution if their dog fatally attacks another. But this bill would change that, ensuring that irresponsible dog owners are held to account. Well, Anna is here now, along with Michael Joannou, whose dog Emily was killed in 2021. Thank you both for coming in to talk of us. Now, Anna, we hear a lot about dogs attacking humans, but not so much about dog-on-dog attacks. But the impact can be huge, can't it?
Oh, dogs are so much part of our family now. It's devastating. And when Michael first came into my office, before I was even the MP for Southend West, he was inconsolable. And he told me the story of his beautiful little dog who'd been fatally mauled and sadly died in Chalkwell Park, in a rose garden, of all places. I couldn't believe it. The police had told him there was nothing they could do. This was just dog on dog. The vet's bills were thousands. They weren't even met. And I looked up the law, and that was absolutely right.
So did you know? Did you know before? Did you know before that they couldn't be prosecuted for this? Did you know that before Michael came in?
No. I assumed if someone irresponsibly allows their dog to maul and fatally injure another person's dog, that of course there'd be a comeback. But it turns out it's only if they're a guide dog or an assistance dog or a service dog. But obviously pet dogs are just as valuable to people as a guide dog or an assistance dog. So to my mind, this is a loophole that needs to be closed.
And I think you're probably not the only one that wasn't aware of where we stood in terms of the legislation. I mean, Michael, what was it that happened to Emily?
Honestly, and I had no idea. And you don't think about this thing until something like this happens. Walking quietly in the rose garden of Chalkwell Park. And how do you explain going from a moment of joy to a moment of terror? It came like a missile. This dog that had just turned its direction was off its lead, a large dog, and within seconds, Emily was in her mouth.
Oh, my God.
And it was just, you couldn't let go of the lead. I had her on a lead. This dog was off its lead. If I'd have let go of the lead, the dog would have been gone. And if I'd have pulled hard on it, it would have been torn in two. As it was, the dog was torn in two, but that brave little beauty survived and still wanted to be in my arms to the last second. I couldn't leave the dog lying there that had never been left and go and confront the owners. Obviously, we did have some discussions that were later through the police, but basically that's when all this came out, that the law is not the law.
And do you know what? And you're not alone with this, because if we look at the figures, in 2016 there were 1,700 attacks in the UK, but in 2021 that shot up to over 11,000, which is an increase of 700%. It's incredible. Now, Anna, what's the likelihood that you'll be able to get this across the line?
Well, since I have introduced this to the Commons in a walk-in 2 or 3 weeks ago, I have been inundated with owners from all around the country telling me their stories. There have been petitions, there have been debates in the House of Commons. So the time has come now to grasp this nettle and to criminalise these terrible dog-on-dog attacks. I'm meeting a minister tomorrow.
OK, so it could be quite positive. Well, Anna, do let us know how you get on with that. And Michael, thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. No, pleasure.
Now, next tonight, a £25 million party boat has arrived in London. Ocean Diva is 3 stories high and the length of 7 double-decker buses and can cram more than 1,000 people on board, making it the capital's biggest floating venue. Its owners say it will revolutionise our hospitality sector, but according to residents nearby Newham, it'll be an eyesore. Anila Dami went along to take a look.
A diva has arrived in town and is making waves on the Thames. Ocean Diva is at the Royal Docks, and London's biggest vessel of its kind, the size of 7 double-decker buses, is preparing to be the new place to party.
It could have gone anywhere in the world, and it's here in the UK and in fact London, and that's something we're immensely proud of. It's certainly true to say that this really is going to encourage other vessels to raise the bar, especially on the sustainability front.
It sailed from Amsterdam, where 1,500 people could party on board. But owners the Smart Group have had to withdraw their London application twice since 2016 because of its build. It's now been redesigned, boasts being eco-friendly with high-tech tracking its carbon impact, and the group foresees it adding £77 million to the economy over the next 5 years, promising businesses their catch of the day.
Having local food, reduces food miles. The whole of the UK has been severely hit over the last 2 years in the hospitality arena with COVID. And I think that regenerating the whole hospitality industry with a venue like this in London is just such an exciting opportunity.
The vessel spans 3 decks with a vast space inside, with workers currently sprucing it up for what Smart Group say will be largely corporate events. And while some businesses are excited about the opportunities it will bring, it has rocked the boat with some residents.
The thing that we're most worried about with Ocean Diva is the size and scale of the operation. It's a huge boat. It's something that, on a scale that nobody's seen in the Thames before. And wherever it parks and wherever it has parties and sailing up and down past people's windows, it's going to be huge.
As Tower Bridge can open to let Ocean Diva pass, the opposition Liberal Democrats say it will cause pollution from traffic on the bridge, Ubers and taxis, and create disproportionate noise. Newham Council says it previously received an unprecedented 980 representations by residents and wants to stress no decision has been made.
Over the next few weeks, when of course we invite residents on board to see the vessel for themselves, understandably they want to come and see it in the flesh, and therefore that will be our opportunity to really explain to them at length our eco-credentials.
Pilot events will be held from June for around 400 people before the Smart Group resubmits its application. So while it's anchored here for now, the water is far from calm. Anila Dami, ITV News.
Still to come, Sally's got good news about this glorious sunshine. And we'll be chatting to the TikToker who's found herself on the cover of Vogue. But first, Dominic Raab has announced that he will step down as an MP for Esher and Walton at the next election, allegedly saying he's concerned about the effects being a frontline politician is having on his family. Well, Carolyn Simmers in Westminster for us. Carolyn, the Lib Dems have their sights set on the seats, don't they?
Well, they definitely have. And I mean, no one expected Dominic Raab to stand as the MP for Esher and Walton in the next general election. But now those suspicions have been confirmed. He resigned from Cabinet, of course, a month ago after that bullying inquiry against him upheld 2 complaints from civil servants. And we now know that last Friday he wrote a letter to the Esher and Walton Conservatives saying that he won't be standing as an MP because of the pressure the job has placed on his young family. Now, the Liberal Democrats did very well in the local elections at Elmbridge Council, and Sir Ed Davey, the leader of the Lib Dems, has now said that he thinks Mr Raab's constituents deserve better. He now wants him to step down now so that a by-election can be held as soon as possible.
I wish he was prepared to answer to the people of Esher and Walton, because I think they would have voted him out and voted Liberal Democrat. I think that one of the reasons he's resigning is he knew he would lose to the Liberal Democrats in Esher and Walton. But it's not just about Dominic Raab, it's about the whole Conservative Party.
Well, yes, Mr Raab now joins a growing list of Conservatives who won't be standing at the next general election, but he says he will continue his constituency duties until then. He also said he thinks the Conservatives can win in Esher and Walton under this Prime Minister, but of course they'll need to be looking for a new candidate if they hope to do so.
Thanks very much, Carolyn. Now, she's become a social media sensation, sharing her 3 million TikTok followers what life is like living with achondroplasia, a genetic disorder affecting the limbs.
Here we are at the Met Gala with the one and only Doja Cat. So Doja Cat, tell us about your outfit tonight. Meow. Yes, we can see that you're a cat. So tell us the inspiration behind your outfit. Meow.
Well, now the 26-year-old from South London is being celebrated on a whole new scale. Fat, you're on the cover of Vogue.
I can't believe it.
What was your reaction when you got the call?
When I got the call, I think I nearly collapsed because I was like, me, that has always been dreaming about possibly being on Vogue, and them to actually contact me for a campaign that is really close to my heart was special.
Now, you're one of several different amazing people that are on the cover of Vogue for this special issue. How important is it for you to have different bodies represented in a space that has historically ignored you?
It's super important. Representation is so important for the younger generation, especially. When I was growing up, I didn't see any representation, and that made me feel so low. It didn't make me feel included whatsoever. And people can connect with you better if they feel like they're represented. So I think representation is so important in this day and age.
And look, that's the shot that we were just seeing there of you on the front cover, and it's been quite a whirlwind time for you because, of course, you are doing your thing on TikTok and on Instagram. But you've also written a book, Main Character Energy, which talks about fearlessness. Why did you decide to use that topic?
I talk about fearlessness so much because what I have to go through, especially people with disabilities or a facial disfigurement, you have to be fearless in life, no matter what. It's no choice, because people are going to discriminate against you, people are going to have prejudice against you, and I think building up that self-esteem in life and building up all those things that have
taken you down to be a better person or to be a stronger, fearless person and be the main character of your own life.
It's hugely important.
It's very important.
I mean, you are hugely successful online, and you've talked before about standing comfortably outside of other people's expectation. What did people expect from you growing up?
Not much, because I'm so small, and I guess if people don't know, people are scared of what they don't know. So I think a lot of the time growing up, it was like I was always last in races. I was always made fun out of. I was the butt of the joke. And I think a lot of people are very surprised at where I'm at today, I think.
But your family must be hugely proud.
Yes, they are. My dad, he has been the biggest supporter in my life, and he actually worked in mental health, so it was really, really impactful in my life and really helped me a lot to have someone like that. You know, and my mother as well. Let me
and when he shows them that front cover of Vogue,
my mum was so happy, like she could cry. Honestly, they have been so encouraging to me, because they're both average height, and they will never understand what it's like to be little or be discriminated against constantly, but they always made me feel safe.
And I guess it's being safe that's made you the incredible woman that you are.
Thank you.
That's Timbe. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now Sally's here to talk weather, and it's been glorious today. I'm hearing rumblings that it might be carrying on.
Well, you hear correctly. You've obviously got a very good source, Charlene. Who could it be? So think southern Spain, because actually our temperatures are going to be very similar to what's going on in Malaga at the moment. However, we are even luckier because we have dry weather and they've got showers over there. Bit of a mess. So we're actually enjoying some nice weather. And can you remember what we've got coming up this weekend?
Oh, a bank holiday, I believe.
Yes, another one. And it's looking at the moment with some nice, lovely gold medallion sunshine. So let's just hope it stays like that. Let's take a look. Here we go.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. I hope you had a lovely day. Now, we don't get many of these on the weather, do we? Horses, but isn't that an absolute beauty? I suspect his coat might get a little bit sweaty as we go through the rest of the week. It's going to warm up a bit, some nice dry, settled conditions, sunny spells at times, cool nights, but as I said, warm days. Let's take a look at the air mass chart, and you can see we've got these lovely warm yellows and oranges, high pressure over us. Could get a bit windier on Friday along the Thames estuary, but otherwise nice and settled, and into the bank holiday weekend as well. Right, let's take a look at the detail for tonight. So a bit of cloud today, starting to break up. Hopefully you'll get some evening sunshine. A lot of that cloud continues to break overnight, and we'll get clear spells in plenty of areas, and particularly where we get them in the countryside, those temperatures getting down to maybe 3 or 4, a touch warmer in our towns and cities, but still in single figures. So it'll probably feel quite cool first thing tomorrow morning, but lots of lovely sunshine around as well. A little bit of cloud chasing, perhaps a bit more around Essex and Kent, but otherwise lovely blue skies, and our temperatures doing well as well. Highs of 19 to 22 or 23. Warm in the sunshine, obviously not quite as warm under any cloud that you might get, but a gorgeous evening to come on Wednesday. Look at that. Some nice evening sunshine to enjoy, and our outlook is very pleasant. Sunny spells at times, temperatures on the climb, and high UV, so do watch out for that. Here's the pollen.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
So our pollen levels, grass pollen, are fluctuating at the moment between low and moderate. It's only just getting going that season, but the fine weather isn't helping. And anecdotally, people are telling me they're feeling it. We've also got some oak pollen as well. That's your forecast.
Finally, it's time to take another look at the 5 projects competing for your vote as part of the People's Projects. Now remember, 3 projects will each win up to £70,000 of National Lottery funding. The People's Projects is a partnership between ITV and the National Lottery Community Fund. In a moment, we'll tell you how to vote. But first, here's Sally with details of who you can vote for.
Last week, you saw 5 fantastic projects all trying to improve their communities. Next week, 3 of them will each be presented with a cheque of up to £70,000 to help them on their way. To win, they need your vote. So here's a quick reminder of the competing projects. First, we have Sport for Futures, a community group set up to tackle inequality in grassroots football. The team there provide free pitches and coaching to young people in South East London, where renting pitches can cost up to £120 per hour.
I'm no different to one of these kids. I grew up in a similar area, South London, and I noticed that was a huge barrier to me becoming a footballer.
Next, we visited the Halo Play Cafe, set up by Alia Jones, who lost her partner suddenly. She wanted to help provide support for young children dealing with bereavement. At the cafe, children and parents can come together to play and get counselling to cope with their grief.
Just being here, everyone's had a similar experience of loss, of devastating loss, a loss that you can't explain.
Now to Kaz, who was diagnosed with cancer and during her treatment handed out pamper pouches to others going through treatment. She has set up Wigs for Heroes, where people going through chemotherapy can come together to make wigs and share their experiences.
I got so much from just that random act of kindness. It helped me get through my cancer experience.
Then we went out with the First Down Farmers, a group tackling loneliness in the elderly through gardening and Tai Chi. This group provides outings and a sense of friendship. For many of their members who had moved to London with no friends or family, it's been a lifeline.
And one of the most important things is to see a smile on a person's face and give them hope that there's always a friend around the corner.
And last but not least was Songs and Smiles, where London's youngest and oldest residents meet and play to boost spirits. Parents say it allows their children to interact with people they might not otherwise meet. They bring their children to care homes to benefit from the years of experience of their elders, while the babies love playing with their new friends.
Giving my children the experience of kind of meeting other people that they wouldn't meet day to day, and just coming into a home, and the homes, they're huge families.
Here's all the details on how you can vote.
Oh, thanks for that. Right, the 3 projects with the most votes will receive a grant of up to £70,000 and the runners-up will be awarded up to £10,000. To vote, go to itv.com/thepeoplesprojects. Voting closes at 12 noon on Friday, the 26th of May. You can only vote once per region and you'll need an email address or mobile phone number to vote. Terms and conditions and privacy notice can be found on the website. Well, that's all we've got time for now. Mary's here next with the ITV Evening News. But from all of us here on the London team, enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.